Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
That's a song from the 70s by Charo.
I can't say I know a single song from Charo.
I do, because one day I thought to myself, I don't know a single song by Charo.
But does she have original music? Like,
Yeah. She has like albums, and but albums of like original music, and she's not just a cover.
What a better way to start a show than with Charo. Episode 215. Welcome to Pero Let Me Tell You, everyone, how we made it through another week.
We did make it through another week, and this is a great weekend because it's my birthday weekend. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yes, put that out to the universe.
Out to the universe. And, I'm just going to cut
27
to the chase.
is a great number.
I don't mind being my age. I don't care. You know what?
Okay, you can keep it.
Any year above ground is a good year.
Of course. Yes.
There's that. And come see us for my birthday on Saturday, August 6th at Beat Culture for Pastelito Fest with Pimpon
And
Pollo.
it will be his birthday.
It will be my birthday.
So you know what the funniest thing is?
That's the perfect birthday present.
Today, actually, Tristan was telling me something about that. I go, on Saturday is Ishmael's birthday. And he's like, I thought his birthday was on the 4th. And I'm like, Tristan, 33 years of friendship. And like, I'm really good about date, but you know what though?
You never get my birthday.
You know about your birthday? A lot of people feel that way.
Well, you know what? They're all wrong.
You know what the thing is?
What? I don't look like a 6.
You don't look like an August.
What do I look like?
You look like somebody would have been born in an
like a September or November,
October, November, December. Yeah, no.
No, I am not a winter.
It's not about winter. No, you're not in August. August is like, I don't know. August is like brown boxes and I don't know.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I am such a Leo. It's
brown
not
boxes
funny.
And I don't know.
And a few of your favorite things like Sound of Music.
No, and I don't know, those little styrofoam things they used to fill up the boxes. That's August to me.
Okay, August is tropical storms and hurricanes, so it is anything but
No, because August is like the end
mellow.
August is the end of the summer for most people, not Miami. It's end of the summer. You go back to school. It's not fall,
but that's why August is the last hurrah. Like, it's when you take advantage of summer. It's like the last chance to go out and just.
You're not in August, but here we are.
I'm in August.
Here we are.
You don't know anything.
Here we are. So enough about you and your birthday.
In true Leo form, I just want to talk about myself for an hour.
So how is everyone? Did everybody have a good week?
I think everybody's having a decent week.
Yes.
Again, it's summertime, so that's always nice.
Oh, I'm not going to be here next week.
That's right.
Who's going to be your co-host?
I'm still locking that in.
Oh, okay. I'm going to be on vacation, everybody, next week.
Yes.
So this year, I'm taking a double vacation. It's well-deserved. I earned it. I haven't taken a vacation. I was that one person that used to vacation big time every year.
Yeah, you haven't taken a vacation for like 3 years, right?
Yeah, I haven't taken a vacation in about, I don't know, half a century, it feels. No, I haven't taken a real vacation in years, even before COVID.
Really?
Yes, and I was that person. What I always tell you, I used to always take every year
like
an
a big vacation,
an international, a domestic, and a cruise.
That's right. And then little weekends here and there.
Okay, I already have a cruise in this year.
That's right.
I'm doing an international.
That's
to me, international, you got to cross the pond.
Okay, listen, just take it.
Oh well, yeah.
Okay, listen. You're getting back into the scene, so you have to take baby steps. Yes.
And Selena's not even there.
No, she is not.
Whoa. So actually, you know,
the other day I was wondering what happened to the scene
from Selena Gomez.
Yeah, like, does she keep in touch with them?
Okay, so I have to tell you something really funny that happened today. This is the type of shit that would happen to me. So, not that I don't know why anybody would know this, but I have legitimately, I'm not saying this messing around, I have ¿cómo se llama? Trypophobia.
Oh, yes.
Trypophobia,
yes.
Which is...
I was going to say, explain it, because people don't know it.
Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to give the actual...
Like the scientific definition?
Yes, the scientific... Okay. Because I actually want to talk about this. Trypophobia. Okay, so trypophobia is described as An aversion to sight of irregular patterns or clusters of small holes or bumps. It is not officially recognized as a mental disorder, but it may be diagnosed as a specific phobia if excessive fear or distress occurs. Did you notice how while I'm reading this, yo me estoy arrancando la cara,
Yeah.
me está picando, because I am
There's a
thinking
picture?
about it. There is a picture.
So visually, kids, it's like a honeycomb.
Yeah, oh,
To give you a mental,
okay.
because this is an audio medium, so we have to
and
give a visual.
Or my biggest nemesis, a lotus flower. A dried lotus flower. You know, es que me pica la espalda. I'm talking about it, me pica la espalda.
Seriously, calm down. It's not even in front of you.
I have such an aversion to irregular circles. I really, really do. It is not made up.
That should be a T-shirt.
It's not
I have
made
such
up.
an aversion to irregular
but really,
circles.
trypophobia is a really...
No, it is a thing. I know, but still, that should be the T-shirt.
It really is a thing. And, you know, everybody has aversions to everything.
Right. Cosa que te cae mal.
But,
or...
like, mine is, like, next level. And I don't even think I have, like, an extreme, case of trypophobia. But I definitely do have it. And I've always had it. I've been saying this
for years. Before we knew it had a name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You want to freak the hell out of me? Open up a box of straws.
Oh, you know, I didn't even think about that.
The box of straws, like I have to look the other way, like and especially in pizza places
where they have the little circular tube thing.
Yes, that they'll have like the forks and the knives,
yeah,
and they have a box of
yeah.
straws, and I'm like,
see, again, because I don't have it, didn't even dawn on me.
oh
that
my
that
god,
was
yes.
triggering.
And when I make pancakes,
oh, when they bubble, the little things bubble in the pancake.
I have to blur my and I love making pancakes. I have to blur my vision and like look other way because it will freak the shit out of me. Like. It's bad. Like
again,
it's bad.
things that I wouldn't even
yeah. It's bad. Bubble baths don't.
Is it because they're so clustered together it doesn't really
like bubbles
register?
in like a bath? It doesn't bother me because it gets foamy.
So it doesn't register the same way.
Right, but sometimes when like the bubbles are like kind of dying down and there's clusters of bubbles, it's sort of like
so there's a safety in numbers.
It doesn't trigger me that much, but like whatever. So
but it needs to be drained.
The reason I bring this up today is because Tristan was asking me about it.
Okay, and how did it come up?
Because Tristan wanted to get the honey with the honeycomb inside of it because we were at Publix.
Those are yummy.
And I'm like, oh, that freaks me out. I said it under my breath. Right. Oh, that freaks me out. And then, of course, you can't say anything like that.
Radar, yeah.
Yeah, that he will ask you, but why? Why? So I'm like, oh, because, you know, I don't like honeycombs. Why? Because I have trypophobia. What's trypophobia? Right. I started talking to him about it at Publix, right? And I mean, he's like, I don't understand. So I started showing him pictures.
Right.
And I got such a reaction of it that I had to find like a pole y arrascarme la espalda against like.
But why does it give you like picason?
Me da picason. Like me da picason. Like I have picason.
Why? That's such a weird thing.
It. Like yeah.
No, because I would think that if anything, te daría like mareo or something. Like I can't look at it or it makes me
I have to find like a column,
but it gives you
like
a rash.
square column, not a
like
not
a freaking bear in the woods.
Yes, and like scratch my back. De la picazón que cogí, and I'm like, I should explain this to you in a more relaxed, comfortable.
Yeah, this is not a time and place situation.
You know what's trypophobia? Kendall Jenner.
I weep for her.
Yeah, the reason I bring her up because you know I'm not a Kardashian fan.
Right. But she's the one que nos cae mejor out of all of them.
But I remember when she said that she had it. It was like top news story. Like Kendall Jenner has trypophobia.
Because anything these people
and I'm
do
like,
is...
people, this is not cancer. This is not like
It's not like she has a tumor.
Yes, this is not like a life-altering disease.
Right.
This is just something that bothers you and triggers you. Right. That's all.
And everybody has a different reaction.
Right, like. Mira, tengo picazón. Like, I get picazón out of it.
That's so fascinating.
It freaks me out, like, big time. I remember not too long ago, I was in an apartment building in Hialeah, and, like, the end wall where, like, the elevator was, had that was, like, really big in the 70s. It was, like...
That
circular
that they're like carved into. Yes.
And I kept looking and I'm like, look away. but you know, sometimes you'll look
so wait a minute. You were like, I can't look at it, but I must look at it.
Right, because it's one of those things that like I know it's there and it bothers me and I'm gonna confront it. No, you're not gonna lotus seed flower, you're not gonna get the best of me.
But they are.
But then I have to turn away. But I'm like, no, I'm losing it. Then It's a thing. Like, it's a thing.
That is great.
It's a thing.
I mean, it's not, but it's great.
Yeah. No. It freaks me out. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm doing pancakes, I'm like, oh.
That's the one I would have never
Especially
done
when
on
I
me.
use like a griddle that I'll do like
Never,
6
ever
pancakes
dawned on
and
me.
they start bubbling. I'm like, oh. Flip.
You could have never been one of the witches of Macbeth.
Flip. Okay, so
wait, before we get to that, because now you're
oh
talking
my
about-
god, delete this picture because I've done
because
a
you're, well,
screenshot.
that's on you. I didn't put it in your
I've done a
phone.
screenshot to like make sure to talk
So
about it.
because you're con picason right now, I wanna talk about something
picason.
that I know will soothe you a little bit. So
Are we talking about ASMR?
no, last Friday, I went to a 25th wedding anniversary for one of Jose's friends, Joanna, and so it was great. It was at a banquet hall.
It's the best.
So it was wonderful. It was very, it was done very pretty or whatever, but I got so excited because the centro mesa, I had chicken cordon bleu.
Of course, with rice pilaf.
There was no rice pilaf. It was a mashed potato.
Oh.
It was I know, it's a little
But it'll
disappointed.
go good with the cordon bleu sauce.
It was delicious. And they had like the Caesar salad, the bread, everything.
Sometimes being a basic bitch is good.
It was fantastic. But the best part is, so we walk through the door, and she's there. Jose's friend is there, Joanna, and she's like, "Oh, thank you guys for coming. Oh, I put you at table 7. With some people who I know you're gonna get along with great, and blah blah blah, whatever." Oh, okay. So we go to get drinks, and as we're coming back, Joanna is coming with one of the girls who's at our table, and she's like, "You're Ish, aren't you?" And I was like, "Well, yes, I am." And she's like, "Oh my god!" And then she turns to Joanna. The girl's name was Marlene, and she's like, "I listened to his podcast, and him and his co-host DJ. Oh my god, they're so great and they're funny, and we have to go to Bim Bam Pollo on next Saturday when they do." Like, she had just listened to the episode and she was like reciting shit back to me, and it was a little.
And you didn't know these people.
I didn't know them, and it turns out that they all work at Royal Palm.
Oh wow, what a small world.
Yeah, my old elementary school. So I just wanted to share that because I thought it was a cool experience.
That is a cool experience.
That it happened in the confines of un salon.
Yeah, that is a cool
It's almost like, our people within our people.
Right. In the salon, hold on.
Oh yeah, he is really going at it with this picason.
I'm not kidding.
No, he is. No, that's why I'm saying it, because it's like, it's one thing to say it, but like, I'm watching you grab like
I'm gonna
random.
have to bring a brush.
I'm gonna need calamine lotion
Yeah,
porque
no,
estás
brush,
mal.
un cepillo para-
No, pero vas a tener un.
No, that's the best thing. Cuando
unas-
te pica la espalda que coges un cepillo y te dan así.
No, I know, pero vas a tener tremendo sapuilla. Like,
Anyway, banquet halls are the best.
It was wonderful.
Okay, why don't we have like a party? We should have like
Our 300th?
I don't know, at a banquet hall, but it has to be in Hialeah. Like,
Okay, well, this one was off of Coral Way.
oh well, that's good enough.
yeah.
Was it exclusive or illusion?
I forget the name of it. I think Oasis, something like that. It was across from FIU.
Oh, okay.
Where the Dunkin'
In the
Donuts
second
is.
Yes.
No, it's not the second floor. It's where the Dunkin' Donuts is that está pushed to the back.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Were they playing Europa by any chance?
They did not.
Oh.
They did not. But it was a nice party. It was very, very well done, and it was very lovely, and we had a blast. But it was just kind of cool to be there and have somebody not only listen to the show, but then turn around and like tell everyone at the table why they needed to listen to the show.
That's awesome. It's like one of those things that you forget, right?
Yeah.
Like, you forget. Yeah, no, we need to have a party at a banquet hall.
For the 300th.
There's something just so comforting.
It gives us enough time if we say the 300th.
But I just think when you go to a party at a banquet hall, I've been to one in a while, but there's just something so comforting about it.
Because you know what you're gonna get.
You know what you're gonna get, and then
it's like the location version of
Right.
comfort food.
Right, and also like
Y sigue la picazón.
Yes, I'm not kidding.
I know you're not.
You know, I'm not exaggerating.
I'm watching you do
My
this.
trypophobia. Can I get a disability of this? People get disabled for much smaller things.
That is true. That's true. People claim disability for a lot less than that, I am sure. Than your trypophobia, I mean.
Yes, don't ever give me a box of straws.
I can't imagine why I would.
No, it always happened. Oh, you know where it used to freak me out? When I lived in Marina Blue. Remember the Pucci's Pizza was downstairs?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I used
Like
to
right
go-
next to the register.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to go to Pucci's all the time. And then, they would have, again, the thing with the forks and the knives and the napkins.
And
And
the
then
box.
you would have, like, 3 boxes of straws. Like, freshly opened boxes of straws. I'll be like, oh, like...
Well, if it makes you feel any better, thanks to COVID, those probably aren't there.
Well,
They're probably gone.
I'm not that type of person that goes around being like, I'm triggered. I'm triggered.
That's true. You're not a triggered person.
I'm not a triggered person. But I'm like, oh my God, I'm so triggered.
But the beauty of you is that even when you're triggered, you won't say it out loud.
No, of course not.
You just kind of internalize it and deal with it.
I'm like, oh, I'm going to deal with this shit. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fine. It's anecdotal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It gives us a topic to talk about in the
Absolutely.
podcast. But anyway, so I wanted to bring something up because, hold on, I actually have to like
Look it up. Like
no,
it
pull up
requires.
the screenshot of this because it's just one of those things. That,
Oh God, does it require a visual aid?
Huh?
It's gonna require a visual aid
It's just one
from
of
my
those
end. Like I have to
things
look
that
at it.
I want to make sure I get it right.
Oh, okay.
Because
okay.
it's just so ridiculous. So, you know, we've talked here many times, and we will talk about it many more times on how
on the road to our 300th episode of the
social
Salon.
media is just, especially Twitter, it's just disgusting.
Oh yeah,
it's
a cesspool.
It's just the most vile people, and I mean,
across
again,
the board.
Again, I don't know if this is like a kind of vision or a snapshot. That's the word I was looking for, of America or of society, or these are just people really that. Because sometimes I think,
well, we've had the conversation before where we've said that like the people who are on Twitter, for example, to follow your thing is like it's half of a like it's you know
right,
it's a low percentage
I wonder,
of humanity.
But one of the things is that are these type of people, have they always existed, but now they just have a platform?
I believe
and a vehicle.
Yeah, I think that's
right. I think that
I think it's that,
to a
yeah.
certain extent. Although I do believe there's people who troll for the sake of trolling.
well, yes, most of them follow us.
Right. But I do think that it's people that have always been that person or those people.
Right.
It's just that we didn't know before. They were all around us, but we didn't know before because they didn't have a medium.
Right. The platform.
But now they
was it,
do,
right.
and especially now they are keyboard warriors.
Right.
Did you see the whole foolishness with Cracker Barrel earlier this week?
No. ¿Qué pasó con el Cracker Barrel?
So Cracker Barrel on their Facebook page posted something that said,
Are they taking away the fried apples?
no, Cracker Barrel on Facebook comes out and states that now they are having their sausages. They have the option of having impossible sausages, so meat, plant-based sausages.
Okay, which is just a smart business move,
right?
Because now you can you can make more money.
Right.
Because
now you've
amplified your potential consumer base.
So they're having it there. They're not taking anything away from the menu.
It's just an option.
Just an option, right? ¿Pa qué fue aquello?
I'm guessing nobody said no, thank you.
It became a whole issue that it was like on the news. Because
why didn't I hear about this?
Cracker Barrel's Facebook post about its plant-based sausage ignites a comment culture war.
Jiminy Christmas.
So all these people started commenting on how they're not going to eat at Cracker Barrel anymore because Cracker Barrel has gone woke, and now they're going to go broke. Because they're bowing down to liberals and they're bowing down to Biden, but this was tens of thousands of people
because they are offering a meatless option.
Yes.
This is why we can't have nice things, kids.
I'm like, I can't.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I can't believe this. Like, I can't believe that Cracker Barrel offering
a meatless option,
right,
the most innocuous thing in the world,
right, has turned into
a political argument.
No, you have to read the comments. You just lost,
I'd rather not.
But you just lost your customer base. Congratulations on being woke. Now you're gonna go broke, Cracker Barrel.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you believe that, then you believe that literally every single person who has ever gone into a Cracker Barrel is only a meat eater. Which, even if you're a vegetarian, you may only have like eggs and potatoes or fish. So now you can have, a sausage option, right? So these are people who probably still went there. And again, there may be some additional people coming in. But why?
But it's not even that.
Why? Why do people insist on, number one, nobody gives a flying fuck about your opinion. Let's start with that. But number two, if you don't want the goddamn meatless option of the fucking sausage, don't have the meatless fucking sausage.
Right. But it's not about the meatless sausage.
No,
right?
I agree. But that's what I'm saying. just don't have
Because I
it.
could
Why do you have to
understand
turn it into a thing?
Like Cracker Barrel is like, guess what? We're not going to offer pork sausages anymore.
It's all vegan.
It's all going to be vegan. Okay, well, yes, because
I don't
Cracker
like
Barrel
vegan.
is
Right,
not
right,
a
right.
vegan restaurant,
Right.
or a plant-based restaurant. Okay, I will get a certain amount of outrage. Although at the end of the day, it's like, okay, whatever.
Who fucking cares?
Go buy Jimmy Dean at the supermarket.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, are you serious? Like, are you serious? Like, do people really? No, actually, no. That's a rhetorical question. Do people really realize how unintelligent and how ignorant they sound
If
as
they
total
no.
jackasses
No, they
when they
don't.
make statements like that? Like, why are you making a culture war or like making political the fact that a restaurant
A sausage.
is giving a meatless option? Right?
That's the most unpolitical thing.
Because you know what? I'm not vegan and I'm not a vegetarian, and there are times that I pick meatless options.
Yeah, same.
Because I just want to. Like,
Same.
for whatever reason.
Actually, mira, Jose is not vegan or vegetarian, but because of his diverticulitis, there are times where he goes for the meatless option.
You know what? Sometimes I go to Subway and I have the veggie patty sub that it's like a veggie patty.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that is what I want. Right?
And why should I not have the option?
Sometimes I go to Burger King and I have the
Impossible
Impossible
Burger,
Whopper.
yeah.
You know, because that is what I want. So, like, why are you making this something that it's not? Like, it's not. I mean, I also guess that
is the
Cracker Barrel-
definition of a non-traversy.
But I also think that Cracker Barrel, because it's Cracker Barrel, and a lot of times it's in these red areas and all that.
Historically, it's very southern.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's so good. I love Cracker Barrel.
I like Cracker Barrel, and listen, I love me that Cracker Barrel country store.
Oh, I mean, that Cracker Barrel country store is the equivalent of going to Target.
I don't need anything in there,
No.
and yet I always wind up buying something.
Yes. And it's like, every time I go...
You know what? Yes, I do need this felt
every
penguin
time
Christmas
I go,
ornament.
I always end up going to the Yankee Candle, thing, and I start smelling every candle that I've already smelled 10 times. I'm like, oh my God, it's crisp linen in a bottle. Like,
How'd they do it?
how did they do it? Aquí hay una toalla with Downy. Dried in the sunshine in a beautiful,
and put in a jar.
yes. But I don't know. There's something magical about that.
Minimum,
country store.
I'm walking out of there with some type of candy.
Yes. The little long candies.
Yes, like the rock candies.
Yes. No. And the few times that I've gone there with Tristan, I'm like, we are bypassing the country store.
Can we walk in through the exit?
Yes,
Like,
because this is not
Not gonna end well.
But it's so ridiculous. Like, it just... I don't know where this is going to end.
let me ask you something. Do you think... This kind of ties to what we were saying earlier, which these people have always existed and now they have a platform. Do you think this is where we are as a country, or as a, not even a country, because I think globally, or do you think that, again, it is a microcosm of a microcosm that for some reason, or not for some reason, I'm going to retract that gets attention because we live in a click-based society now.
Oh, absolutely.
And so they know if they put this out there, people are going to click, and then your stupid opinion is going to turn into somebody else having a stupid opinion, and somebody else having a stupid opinion, and it's engagement. And now, you know what I mean? So I don't even think that I don't even think that we've become that political. I think we've become a society of people who enjoy being outraged.
Well, but I forgot what report it was that showed that Instagram, Facebook, and all that, their algorithm is set up in a way that the negative comments are
the
put
goal.
up
The goal is to
the
piss you
list.
off.
Right, or put up the list.
Yeah.
So when you come across a post, usually the comment that is on top that you could read, even
Right,
if you don't
right,
click on
right.
it,
Yeah.
is one that
Something's triggering, quote
right,
unquote.
that's
Yeah.
triggering or controversial or
Right.
whatever. So yes, it's designed
Right.
for this. So I think it's a perfect alignment, a perfect storm.
Right. Because
of
people know
things.
what to say now to get attention.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you may be apolitical, and yet you know that if you say X, Y, and Z, you know what I mean? It's now I've got the attention-seeking behavior validated.
Right. And I actually have another comment about online behavior in a minute, but later in the show. But yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, and it's just so disappointing, and it's infuriating, but it's not even infuriating, and I'm mad. It's just disappointing that this is what people. It's where we are, and this is where people are putting their efforts in when there's so many like real problems
Right.
in the world, in our country, like real problems that if people put, no matter what your political ideology is, if people put more effort on actually going out and doing things and helping other people
Versus meatless sausage.
yes, and I see that on both sides. Look, I've said it many times. I you know, I'm on Twitter because I you know, work also in politics and or in, you know, politics related avenues, and that's why I'm on Twitter. Otherwise, I wasn't on Twitter until a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I see all these people locally, and these are people that have similar ideologies than I do.
Right.
Que se pasan el día on Twitter. Oh, you know,
Fajando.
we're gonna beat Ron. You know, these are people that again are ideology-wise aligning with me.
Right.
Oh, we're gonna beat Ron. You know, if you believe we're gonna beat Ron DeSantis in the fall, retweet. Joe Biden is the greatest president ever. You know,
Retweet.
agree with me. You know, press hard if you agree with me. Like, I mean,
Right.
And I'm like, ustedes no trabajan. Like, don't you have a fucking job? You know? And it's not to make myself sound like a saint, but I'm actually out there. I put my money, you know, I put my
money where your mouth is.
My money where my mouth is. I'm actually out there talking to people and trying to make change and all that stuff when I can and all that. You know, I don't sit on Twitter every day and be like, it's like, so it's on all sides. It's on all sides that it's like, don't you have something better to do? Like, why don't you go out and actually speak to people? If you feel so...
Go volunteer.
So go volunteer. Go organize.
Right.
There's a million things for you to do. If you feel so impassioned about a cause, whatever it could be, why don't you go out and do it rather than sit home on Twitter, right? It's
easier.
I see that from my side, and I've already told you, like, political Twitter is like the worst thing ever because
it's cesspool.
Because like there's two echo chambers.
Yeah, and they're not interested in talking to each
There's the
other.
right and the left. And then the left says something, or whoever on the right. You say something, and then everybody that is in your echo chamber, oh, yeah, you're awesome.
Right.
Oh, my God, yes.
Right.
And they use big, fancy terms and words. Yeah. And then, you know, the ones that
Right,
are not
when
in your
opposing,
echo chamber
right.
are like, oh, you're full of shit, blah, blah, blah. And then they start fighting among themselves. But in the meantime...
Nothing gets done.
And it's the same group of people
Fighting
amongst themselves.
Right.
So then the rest of everybody else is kind of like crickets.
Because we don't care.
Right, crickets.
But
bro, I have, you know, 40,000 followers on Twitter.
Right.
Retweet it. I mean, listen, I have seen people, like local community people, that have said, I want to get followers on Twitter. Please retweet my tweet and follow me. Así.
A lo descarado.
A lo descarado. And I'm like, all right.
At least they're being honest.
Like, well, that's true. So,
there's something to be said for honesty.
Yeah. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We know things can feel overwhelming, from jobs to family to relationships, even finances. And despite the stigma from Hispanic families about airing our dirty laundry, we can all use someone to talk to during those moments of stress. Well, we're here to remind you that there's no shame in admitting that you need to speak with someone to work towards improving mental well-being. That's where BetterHelp comes in to, well, help. A customized online therapy provider, they offer therapy options on your time, whether it's via phone, video, text, or even live chat sessions with a therapist. BetterHelp's customized approach matches you with a therapist in under 48 hours, based on what you're experiencing to help you better understand yourself. And as a special offer for Pero Let Me Tell You listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/pero. It's already more affordable than in-person therapy, and now you can save on your first month. Everyone deserves to be happy, and BetterHelp has helped millions take their first step on that path. That's betterhelp.com/pero. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast episode.
Speaking of something a little different, but also, you know, I think we haven't mentioned The View in a while. You saw that they made their announcement this week.
I did.
Which I found their announcement a little anticlimactic in that they mentioned like Ana Navarro's now one of the permanent hosts, and I'm like, but she's been on that show for like the last 2 years.
Well,
like she wasn't the permanent host, but for all intents and purposes, Ana was. I mean, she was a if she wasn't permanent, she was semi-permanent because ella estaba ahí 4 out of the 5 days.
right, but they're also going to have Farrah Griffin.
So they're gonna alternate the two now.
They're probably going to alternate the two, and it's funny because
Ana said she was. I mean, from the beginning, she's always said she's not moving to New York.
Right, so they'll probably alternate between the two.
Right.
You know, or Anna will be there 3 times a week, and then Alyssa will be there a few other times a week.
We love Ana, but let's face it, Ana is not the conservative voice that they're looking for on that show.
They're not. They're not.
Not the way that they were looking for the replacement.
The problem is that they're not going to repeat a Meghan McCain. Meghan McCain was lightning. What is it?
Yeah, lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. This other girl, Alyssa Farrah Griffin.
She has so many names.
I like her. Do you know who she is?
She used to be part of the Trump administration, right?
She was, and she was there actually till the very end.
One of the few.
Her story is, and I believe that to a certain extent, that she knew some point in the middle of his administration that he was fucking crazy. Right?
Okay. This is her story.
Right. And that she and a couple of people stayed on because this is her story again, as you said, because they needed to be the adults in the room. Right? And people give her shit for it. People are like, well, but you worked for him and you were an accomplice. And she's like, yes. But if me and other people were not there to kind of guide him,
keep things a little in
then
check,
things could have gone even worse than what they did,
Right.
January 6th and all that. So I see her point. She is a conservative, and I certainly think The View needs to have a conservative like Meghan McCain. My only issue with her is that in terms of, and I like her, and I like when
because she's been on a couple times at this point, obviously.
All this whole season she has co-hosted. Yeah. I just think that she's not like, again, Meghan McCain made great television. That's the thing with Meghan McCain.
Right.
She made great, love her or hate her, she made great television. And that's what I think, that's why they've struggled to put there. And the thing that it's hard to find, because you want to have, I if I was a producer in that show, I want to have a conservative on that show. I want to have a Republican, but like a real conservative, a real Republican, like conservative values, conservative,
viewpoints,
fiscal, fiscally as well.
Right.
But the problem is that, you can't also be an election denier and all this type of stuff, which a lot of people publicly are, even if privately they're not. So it's hard. It's hard to find, and then obviously has to be charismatic and
has to have presence on TV,
all those
and chemistry. Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, we'll see, but I mean, the Meghan McCain era of The View is. I mean, I used to put it on sometimes here. That was like every day, it'd be like, give me the popcorn because let's go.
Let's go. Siempre,
yeah, it was great television. It was great television, but I like Ana Navarro, but we'll
circle
back
back
to this.
Okay.
Yeah, circle back to this at the end. So, what else do you have?
So let's see what else I got. It's actually been, there's been a couple things that have happened this week. Oh. Total fluff news, but did you see that Days of Our Lives is moving off of NBC and onto Peacock?
No.
Yep. After 57 years on NBC, NBC will now officially have no soap operas on daytime TV. And in its place, they're giving us another hour of news. Because we don't have enough news on NBC.
But is it going to be the 5th hour of today?
It's going to be called NBC Daily News Hour or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Which is complete bullshit. I did the math the other day. Of the 24 hours of programming on NBC, if you add local news, it's a good 12 hours. Like half the day is news.
But let me ask you something. I know a lot of times I make these decisions for money wise.
It's financial, yeah.
Okay, but if it's moving on to Peacock, it's still going to be produced.
Yeah, the thing is, remember that Peacock also has, they have an ad-supported an ad-supported layer level as well, I believe. So they're moving it over there, but I will say Days has got 1 year left, I think, in its 2-year contract, and I would not be surprised if it was not renewed afterwards.
Wow.
It wouldn't surprise me. Now, granted, they moved it to Peacock because they had 3 Peacock exclusive like Days limited series and things, and apparently they did well enough that they figured, okay, people will come and watch it. And a part of it also has to do with the fact that people are watching soaps or time shifted. So you're
What do you mean time shifted?
well,
Like on DVR?
right? Like if it's at 1 o'clock, you're at work, so
Right.
you're watching it either on DVR or you're watching it on Peacock because through Comcast, if you pay for Comcast, you also get Peacock as part of your subscription, like the premium level. So, people are watching it time shifted, and I understand it from a business perspective, but what I hated was the way that they sold it in the press release, because they were like, oh, this will allow us to provide an hour of, dynamic, live, exciting programming. And I'm like, it's another hour of fucking news.
It's the 5th hour.
It's the 5th hour of fucking today. But have you seen the average local station? Like anything outside of primetime, anything before 7 p.m. outside of primetime on any of the local stations, be it CBS, NBC, or ABC, the majority of it is news, whether it be local or national.
Right.
That's all that they run.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Well, maybe they should just
It's
start.
cheap.
Well, you just said it. Maybe they should just start airing ridiculousness. Wouldn't it be great if like all these shows start just airing ridiculousness?
That's just
That at one point in time you'll be just going
Regardless
through
of the channel.
surfing, and it's ridiculousness. Actually, hold on, because there's something I wanted to. Now that we're talking about ridiculousness,
that's great.
hold on, because I actually, if I'm going to say this on the air, I want to make sure I have my numbers right.
Oh,
the
okay.
other day I was looking at the total number of episodes of ridiculousness.
Oh, really? Were you that bored?
Okay, I was. Ridiculousness has 936 episodes. Yeah.
But it's a cheap show to produce.
So, listeners,
It's all public content.
have you listened to watched Ridiculousness?
I think at some point everyone has, even if just by accident,
No, of course it has 936
because
episodes.
it's always on.
It's always on.
It's always on.
That's just it. That's what MTV is. It's ridiculousness.
Right. They should just change it to RTV.
Like our TV. I mean, that was like the greatest thing ever. Oye, oíste that bueno, you have to be kind of under a rock to not know that Beyonce released her
Did she really? That have an album
this past week.
Renaissance?
And she got a little bit of
a little bit of heat.
from. Did you hear her heat with Diane Warren?
No, but I heard about with Khalees.
Right.
Khalees is going scorched earth.
Yes, because Beyonce used a sample of one of her songs. Well, she sampled one of her songs and didn't ask for permission, and now actually Beyonce's removing the sample.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but did you hear the comment?
With Diane Warren?
Diane Warren
No.
tweeted regarding "Break My Soul." She's like, "Really? You needed 24 songwriters for that song?" The Beehive went on overdrive.
But she's not wrong. That's every Beyonce song.
The Beehive acabó con ella. And I'm like, Diane Warren, you do not know about these terrorists.
You know what?
You need to be careful.
But where's
Diane
the lie?
Warren, you're going to have to go on the witness protection
But-
program.
but-
Well, actually, you know what, though?
But where's the lie?
You know what I read,
Beyonce
though?
songs always have like 17.
Right,
They
but
have
you know-
almost as many people as Hoedown.
But you know what? I read that and I go, okay, even if you have songwriters, because songwriters is I that's a big thing for me.
Yes.
If a singer is a songwriter,
Right.
Like I like to, I don't know, I just
It's an extra layer for you.
for me, like it's very important for the singer to be a songwriter. And that's so songwriting credits is something I just de siempre, since I was like
you've
a
noticed.
teenager, I always look to see who wrote this song.
Right.
Like I want to know. And like like if it's like a very famous songwriter, like a Diane Warren,
Right,
like a
right.
Dave Foster, stuff like that. Like I want to know. Like I want to know like all the songs they wrote and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you have a team of songwriters, 24
That's
is
a lot of people.
Is a lot.
Like everybody wrote
what
2
I
words.
read was, because a lot of stuff came out of this. What I read was that because "Break My Soul" specifically has a really big sample of
Robin S.
that it includes those songwriters too. Which I was like, okay, even if it's 2 songs,
that's
say it's
still a
12
lot
to
of
12,
people.
That's a lot of people.
That's still a lot of people for 2 songs. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like that, the lyrics of that song are not that. They're sort of.
It's not an E.E. Cummings song, poem.
Yeah. I love Beyonce. I've said this before. I love Beyonce. I've been an early fan of Beyonce. Beyonce, Destiny's Child came out with No No No. Part one.
Yep.
I looked at her and I'm like, I freaking love this woman. I love Beyonce. I always have. I don't get super fandoms into that sense. And I feel that anytime Beyonce comes out with a new project, like, you cannot say anything about it.
Beyonce could release an album of farts and they'll be like, oh my God, it's a masterpiece how she manipulates gas.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. See, the other day I was for shits and giggles, I was on Twitter, reading this bullshit, and like somebody asked, like, this is like Beyonce, like,
right.
Beehive? Beehive Twitter, if you want to call it that. Somebody was like, oh, what's your favorite song on your top 3 favorite songs on Renaissance? And people are like, oh, these are my 3 favorite songs. I would put in my top, bottom these. Well, why is that song in your top, bottom? Like, why is that?
Oh, so then they started fighting amongst themselves.
That song is a masterpiece. Well, it's not my favorite song. Well, like, pero que tú quieres? Like, I mean, what do you want? Like,
it's not enough that they're super fans.
So
now
ridiculous.
You have to be exactly like me.
It's so ridiculous. So all those people went after Diane Warren, right?
Diane Warren,
then when I was reading all that type of stuff, I was, people started sticking in Mariah Carey in there.
Right.
Which...
Of course. Right.
And they were like, oh, you want to talk about a real songwriter? Talk about Mariah Carey, who's written 18 of her 19 number ones. And then people were like, oh, that bitch hasn't had a hit since All I Want for Christmas Is You. And it's like, actually, she's had like 10
since then.
Like,
not to be that guy, but you're not correct at all.
I don't get super fandoms. To that extent.
To blind yourself to the point of that they can do no wrong. Like,
right.
Oh yeah, because I love my my fans and blah blah and this and that, my singers, but I'm the first one to call them out on their bullshit.
Right, but also, like, I love Mariah Carey. I am a super fan of her.
But they can't all be masterpieces.
But like, if you don't like her, it's totally okay. Like,
but even not even that, like, every album can't be the best.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if you don't like her, okay. Okay, great. that's you, boo boo.
Sure.
I mean, whatever. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? Nobody's paying my bills.
Right.
Like, nobody's paying my bills. But the reason,
speaking of Beyonce,
the reason I brought Beyonce up is because with all this that happened with removing the sample and all that, did you hear who's the latest person to jump in and say something?
I feel like I know this, but I don't.
So when they removed the sample and then the Khalees sample and all that, Monica Lewinsky.
Oh yes.
Well, while you're at it, we do partition. And for those of you who don't know, Beyonce and her Beyonce album a few years back has a song called Partition, which is a fucking badass song.
It is.
That she says, he Monica Lewinsky'd all over my gown. Right. And then the Beehive went after Monica Lewinsky.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. And then what was really interesting was that a lot of these people were attacking her, calling her a whore.
Again, we're back in 1990 something
stuff, and then a lot of other people were saying, hey, Beehive, for you people being all about Beyonce, who's talking about empowering women and Me Too,
right? How quickly you tear one down.
How quickly you're tearing down a woman who didn't say anything bad about her, just said, hey,
we're revisiting.
You reference me in one of your songs. How quickly she's this and this and this and this and this.
Right.
It's just interesting to see people talking about it. Like, oh, she was 21, totally capable of making her own decisions. And I'm like, right.
Well, yes. I mean, yes.
Yes. Especially when you're dealing with the president of the United States of
America.
Well,
but not even that. Just think of the average 20-year-old.
Right.
We make stupid decisions
all
all
the
the time.
But the power dynamic, I would say, it's a little off between a 21-year-old intern and the most powerful man in the world. Just a little off.
Question: has Beyonce herself said anything?
About Monica Lewinsky?
or
No.
any of this?
No. Beyonce doesn't say anything.
Because she's not interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't get those super fandoms. So listeners, if you want to laugh, cry, get mad, go and read Beehive Twitter. I actually only looked at it because I saw it actually on the news
About Diane Warren.
about Diane Warren being dragged. And I'm like, who the hell drags Diane Warren?
Yeah,
Like,
really. Like, she just writes pretty
I
little
mean,
ballads.
for those of you who don't know, Diane Warren is like she's a very famous songwriter.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't,
predominantly ballads, I think.
yes, a lot of people don't like her because she's very kind of like textbooks ballad, like cheesy ballad. But hey,
it
she
works.
makes Celine Dion a lot of money.
It works.
So yeah. So that's our.
That's... God. You know how I feel about that fandom.
No, but you know what? The Beehive is, as I say, you can negotiate with terrorists, but they're all like that. They're all like that because the quote unquote family. Somebody the other day, and I really had to hold myself not from responding. Some stupid ass kid, who's Lamely, Mariah Carey fan, was saying, "Oh, anybody whose favorite songs of Mariah Carey are from the '90s, Red Flag, that whole Red Flag."
Oh yeah. They're an 8, but they or whatever.
Right,
Right,
and I'm
right,
like, really, because she defined music in the '90s. She had a #1 song every year in the '90s. So. And that was the peak of her commercial success,
right.
As well as creative, because
That's when she won all her Grammys.
Well, and
yeah.
also her peak creative moment was Butterfly in 1997, right? So it was both her critical and commercial success.
Like it came all together.
Yeah. So
what do you want?
I mean,
Listen,
people have to talk shit.
People talk about the Little Monsters, the Lamely, the
Oh,
Beehive.
those people.
But listen. In a steel cage match, none of them are gonna win next to Mundo de Cristal.
Oh, the Thalia fans.
Yes, olvídate.
Oh, those people are
I
savages.
I feel like they won't play dirty. They'll play dirty.
Oh, of course they would.
Yeah.
Of course they would. For those of you who don't know,
They'll wait until
like
those.
the Mundo de Cristal is like the fandom of Thalia.
Yeah.
And for again those of you who don't know, there's always been a rivalry between Thalia and Paulina Rubio.
right.
So what I always love, I mean, this hasn't happened in a while, but like for some time there, whenever Paulina Rubio would do a red carpet, these Mundo de Cristal kids would go and be there, in the red carpet where
Almost like a counter protest.
and they would be like chanting Thalia, Thalia, and they would have like posters of her be singing her songs
While they're interviewing Paulina Rubio.
And it was just, it's good television.
That's when rivalries were fun.
Speaking of good television, you know what I started watching this week?
What?
I'm just on YouTube in like really bad quality, and our listeners, only probably a few of you will get this if you remember this. Corte Tropical.
Oh, they're on YouTube.
No, Chico, those are copies of VHSs that people have
Chico,
uploaded.
I know, but but it's on YouTube.
You can
Oh, okay.
find it. The quality's super bad.
Yes, which I met Ruben Rabasa, who was
Right,
in Corte Tropical.
That is why I started looking for it, because my dad saw the post that you had.
Oh, okay.
That you put.
Yeah.
And I told my dad, like, he's sort
Thank
of
you,
having,
Vicky and Vanessa, for the invite.
I wish I could have gone to that.
Yeah.
I told my dad, like, he's sort of having a career renaissance at this time.
Yeah.
And that is actually what sparked me to look
Okay.
into Corte Tropical. And I have to tell you, I mean, I'm not saying anything that anybody who watched that show, again, all two of you that are
Right.
listening, but to everybody who did watch Que Pasa USA, ¿cómo se llama ella? Marta.
Glenda, I forgot her name was Glenda something. She had a hyphenated
Who
last
the one
name.
who played Marta on Que Pasa USA. She's in Corte Tropical. That woman, her comedic timing
she's
is
great.
it's just so good. Like, there was a scene where, because it was a beauty parlor, so they had to have people in the
She
chair.
was la manicurista.
Yes, yes, a cutie. They were doing some lady's hair, and the lady was like a super background character, right? And she was saying something like, "Oh, you guys are taking too long. Una americana, I'm gonna leave." And she's like, "Mija, tú pareces un espantapájaro. Tú no vas a salir ni a la esquina." But just the way that she says it and her
The timing, it's all about
just
timing.
So like, man, she's so good. Like,
I don't know if she still does, but she actually, I have a friend who works with her behind the scenes. She works at Telemundo now as a comedy writer. Like on like all the shows that she helps write like the patter and all those things.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
She like her timing, and there were so many people from Que Pasa USA on that show.
Yeah, bueno, Adela.
Adela was on there.
Sharon.
Sharon, ella, and then also the guy who played the doctor, who was kind of an enamorado of Adela. In Corte
Yes,
Tropical,
yeah.
Was Iggy's dad. Que Pasa USA.
That was Iggy's dad?
Yes, but he was older because remember this was like 10, 15 years later.
Oh, I never connected it.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? Because I was thinking about that. Corte Tropical ran from 1990 to 1993.
It did?
Yes. I feel that...
I thought it ran for like a year.
No, it ran for 3. And I feel that, like, the gap between the end of Que Pasa USA and that show was only 10 years. But it feels so much newer.
If you had told me 20 or 30 years gap,
because you know what? Que Pasa USA feels very 70s.
Right.
Right? Whereas Corte Tropical feels very 90s. So,
yeah,
even though it was 10 years, like it felt like completely different.
No, it probably had a little higher production value too.
Well, it was Univision, you know. But
it was official Univision production.
Yeah, I remember they used to play it
on
night
Univision at 10, yeah.
Yeah, at 10, yeah, at night. Corte Tropical.
Yeah.
So for those of, 5 listeners who used to watch and remember Corte Tropical, it's if you enjoyed Que Pasa USA, you would enjoy Corte Tropical.
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah, it's the same kind of... I guess Que Pasa USA, you didn't realize it at the time, but it's total slap stick humor.
Oh, for sure.
Like, big time.
I mean, it's in I Love Lucy. Yeah, it's there.
Because I don't think about it as that, but it sort of is.
It owes a lot to it. Yeah,
it sort of is,
absolutely. Yeah.
Corte Tropical.
Yeah, no, Rubenology, his show was fantastic. Like, it even made me cry at the end.
That's why, like, that man to have...
He's 84.
Yeah, but not even so much that...
84,
age.
and now he's... No, but the degree of popularity that he has at this age is like...
Because he's somebody that you could have very well said, and I don't mean this as a diss, that he had peaked already.
Right, he had his moment.
He had his moment years ago.
Right.
He hadn't really had been at least something to this scale recently, and then out of nowhere, like...
Yeah, he had a renaissance. Yeah. He had a renaissance along with Beyonce.
You won't break my soul. But did he need 24 writers for his one-man show?
He did not. It was just him and Vanessa. So yes.
Did he need 24 writers?
It was just him and Vanessa, and Vicky was a director. That's it.
That's awesome. So,
yep.
Anyway. ¿Tienes sed?
I could go for a soda. I could always go for a soda. Sometimes I'm a little parched.
Okay, cool. Because today's last soda, I kind of want to tie it in with something that we talked about earlier.
Okay.
So, I'm going to give my last soda today to Enrique Santos.
Okay.
Who coincidentally, right before we started recording, you told me, "Oh, did you see Enrique Santos started following us today?" And I was like, "How funny!" Because I was gonna give him the last
universe
soda.
knew, and he's been on the show before.
The last soda, yes, and he's been on the show. And of course, Enrique Santos is all over the place, but especially if you're from Miami, Enrique Santos is up there.
It's Enrique Santos,
the Miami, I guess, legends, if you want.
Yes, the echelon.
So. Going back to The View,
okay.
Enrique Santos in his Instagram, he posted that Ana Navarro was on The View. Was going to be on The View.
He congratulated her. And
I would say that most of the comments were positive. Most of them were positive.
Okay.
But of course,
you're always going to have trolls.
There's always the party poopers. And, people saying... that you could tell that these were people that have never watched a single episode of The View.
Okay.
Some of them were typing in Spanish, and then I would go to their Instagram page, and I'm like, okay, I'm almost sure, I don't mean this as a diss, that you don't speak English, and
much less watch The View,
making a whole judgment call on a show that you've probably never seen an episode. Right. And there are people talking a lot of shit and whatever, and he does what you should do, which is ignore it. But there was somebody who just made a very, very simple comment.
Okay.
But sometimes it's that simple comment, the one that really
pisses you off.
So,
All right. So what's the comment?
In response to his post of congratulations on Ana Navarro on
because they're
being on
friends,
The
right?
View and whatever. But even if they weren't friends, I mean, the fact that una Latina from Miami is
Right.
on The View, which has been running for 25 years, which
It's an
time and
accomplishment.
time again it is considered the most influential show in
morning talk show,
politics in the country. That's a big deal. So somebody simply posted una comunista más in NBC, and she put at NBC.
First of all, wrong network.
He actually responded, and this is all that she said: una comunista más in NBC. And I just thought, and again, there were other people who said worse things in
Right.
2 paragraphs, but just that one line, and I totally got it. So I totally got it because I was like, it really got me mad, that one sentence.
Right.
So this is what he responded. He said, in reference to Ana Navarro, cuando niña que tuvo que abandonar a Nicaragua y su padre se enfrentó a los sandinistas, o cuando trabajó por Jeb Bush o por John McCain, o cuando sirvió como embajadora para la Comisión de Derechos Humanos de las Naciones Unidas, donde condenó fuertemente las violaciones de derechos humanos por parte de Cuba, o cuando criticaba fuertemente a todos los comunistas y dictadores. ¿A eso te refieres? Causan tanto daño asignándole estos títulos a la gente tan a la ligera, injustamente, equivocadamente y sin prueba, solo para descreditar porque quizás no estás de acuerdo con ella. El show está en ABC, no NBC, by the way. Buen día y que viva la democracia abajo las dictaduras. I was like, boom! He came with all the receipts.
Yeah, he really did.
He came with all the receipts
really
in
did,
a very
yeah.
elegant way. But the reason I give him the last soda, and I wanted to highlight that, because that is the perfect example of how, and this is particularly
It's how to
prevalent
do it.
to our community
Yeah.
here in South Florida, that we have gotten into the disgusting habit, and let's call it out for what it is, especially among Cubans.
Yeah.
That if I don't agree with you, tú eres un comunista. Mic drop. If I don't agree with you, tú eres un comunista y un socialista. And it's like, okay, you don't agree with Ana Navarro. Maybe you want to freaking, fucking,
Fight her on everything.
eat Donald Trump's ass.
Right.
I mean, whatever you want. Go for it, boo-boo. Go for it. But you're calling her a communist because you like something else and you disagree with her? Like, people don't realize that by doing that, you're taking the power away from that word.
It means nothing.
It means nothing. It means nothing. Oh, tú eres un comunista. No, tú eres un comunista. No, tú eres un comunista. But it's like, blah, blah, blah. I've told you, I have been called communist by people in my family. Like, me. Me. I have been called communist. I'm like, I could read the Constitution inside and out, bro. Like, and I'm the communist, like,
Right.
and you're living off of, like, every social program there is, but I'm the communist? Like, and people just use that word.
Right.
I mean, we've talked about this a million times. It's not something new that we've talked
Well,
about.
but it's like when people use, again, that's not exactly the same thing, but like in an email, everything is like urgent. Well, if everything you say is urgent,
Yeah.
then guess what? Nothing you say is
Right.
urgent. And I'm
Right.
going to take my fucking time.
Right.
Because, it means nothing.
Right. And I often wonder, I mean, this is, I guess, a bigger conversation, if a lot of times this attitude by a large part of the Cuban community, and again, we're part of the Cuban community, so we could say it,
Right. You can't say it if you're not, but we can.
is why sometimes so many people are so like, turned off about the problems in Cuba.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
You can only cry wolf so many times.
you're not helping your cause
Right.
by making these huge accusations and allegations against people that you just don't agree with.
You're crying wolf.
You're crying wolf, but on top of that, you're not helping your cause.
Right.
And you have a very important cause and something
That
very
deserves
important
attention.
That deserves attention.
And
right?
respect and help
Right?
and
And
everything.
by just calling everybody a communist, it's like, bro, you're the communist. Because that's what communists do. They, like, shame
Right.
the opposition and dissent, and they stomp it to the ground. That's what communists do. And yet, you're the one screaming communist at everybody because you don't agree with them. because they don't have the same opinion that you do. And I just thought that he so perfectly put it. So perfectly put it.
Yeah,
and
very eloquent.
The truth is that person probably
not gonna give a shit.
Not gonna give a shit, and still gonna call her a communist.
And now Enrique's a communist too.
Right. Oh, of course, Enrique's a communist too. Oh, of course, Enrique, you're a communist.
Right.
You're a communist too, right? And it's just a shame. It's just a shame because it's so you're taking away power from a word that to be called a communist, I think, is a very big insult.
Absolutely.
It's something, especially that if you lived through that or you
have
come from that
family,
and that's in your family, that's something that's very personal to you, and that's something that is a big part of you, that anti-communist thing. The same way that as a white person you should be anti-racist,
right?
We are also communists,
right?
And just to be called a communist, like very garden variety, like very, as a matter of fact, you're a communist.
Like, get me some eggs, you're a communist.
Yeah, you're a communist.
Right.
And it's like, okay, whatever, dude, whatever. But I just, hats off to Enrique Santos. I mean, Enrique Santos is very good at this.
Yeah,
that's why he is where he is.
There's a reason he, exactly.
But my hats off to Enrique Santos for so eloquently responding to just a very small comment, but like really coming with the receipts, as they say, and really in an eloquent way putting that person in their place and letting them know that words have a context. Words matter,
right?
And this implication matters, and you are just totally using the word in the wrong way for the wrong reasons. So
yeah, I'm actually going to kind of piggyback off of your last soda, and my last soda is going to be weird because it's not.
I feel this episode has been all about like social media and like
internet,
right,
like the power of the internet. So I guess if I had to pick what I'm giving a soda to, I'm going to say it's, and I don't know if it's gasless or soda or whatever. It's actually to an experience that I had. I think it was last Saturday, and it was last Saturday. So at like 8:30 in the morning, I was woken up by what sounded like chanting, like from a microphone, a megaphone, or whatever. And I was like, "Is there a parade going on?" So whatever. I kind of it was 8:30 in the morning, so I kind of went back to sleep. I woke up a little bit later. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the gym. I get dressed. I go out. Okay, where I live. My block is right next to Ponce de Leon. Right there was a protest going on. And okay, Cuba and the embargo should be lifted and this and that. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I go to the gym. I come back. By the time I come back, the protest has grown in the middle of Coral Gables.
Okay.
So I go and I'm like, oh, what's going on, whatever. So apparently what had happened was, and I still don't have an answer as to why it was this building. On one side was people who were basically protesting to lift the embargo for all intents and purposes, and that we should be building relationships with Cuba, and the embargo hasn't worked, and et cetera, et cetera. On the other side of the street were people protesting their protest. So to your point, ustedes son comunistas, and this and that, and whatever. So on my way, because I walked all the way out there to see what was going on my way back, I see this one guy coming towards me. Well, he wasn't coming towards me, he was going to his car. And so I stop him and I say, excuse me, what's going on? What is this protest about? And he proceeded, and my favorite part is that he explained the whole thing to me, and he was very heavily accented, but he explained the whole thing to me in English. Mm-hmm. So apparently at that moment, I was very white passing. Right. I think I was using my northern, neutral English. Mm-hmm. And what I liked was he explained his position passionately, but without being insulting. I don't know if it's because he thought I was white, and so he decided, let me neutralize the way I'm speaking about this. But he basically started saying how, no, the people over on the other side, they're talking about that they want to build bridges and, and lift the embargo. But, on our side over here, we have people who were in jail for, 30 years and they suffered. And, and what they're trying to do over there is, is they're trying to indoctrinate and make, the communism a thing. And, it's very hurtful for us over here. And, they are the Castros are communists and they are evil and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I hope that this gentleman can explain this the same way to anybody who asks. Because while le tiró un poquitico, they're evil and, the people are there, he took the route of explaining why they felt that way. Mm-hmm. as opposed to just to your point of earlier, they're communists, they're horrible, they should die. He took the route of like, no, because we have people over there who are still suffering, and we don't believe in that, and blah blah blah. And I was like, if everybody could just kind of speak like this gentleman, passionately without being insulting, I think that maybe the point could come across a little better.
Well, yeah.
When you have these types of discussions, And so that's why I say I'm kind of piggybacking off of what you're saying, because, nowadays it just gets tossed around, right? Where it's just like, I disagree. Comunista, that's it, you're done. Right. And again, maybe he turned around, and when he went back to speak to people who, at his camp or whatever, it totally devolved.
Right.
But at least in that moment, speaking to me, and again, the fact that he stayed in English and he did not, and I didn't throw any Spanglish out either, because I was like, I think he thinks I'm white. So I was like, let me just see where this goes. Because I also recognize that if the moment that I kind of flip the switch and show him that I'm one of them, the rhetoric would have changed.
Right. That is probably true.
Right? The rhetoric would have changed on a dime. And that's why I decided to almost play along, because I was like, I want to see what is the story when they don't get to use shorthand. Right? And I think it was just much more effective. And so I'm essentially, I guess I'm giving it to this gentleman just for being passionate without being insulting in a moment of, heat, because not only was it fucking hot as hell that day, but they were in the midst of a protest.
That protest?
That I still don't know, because me and Jose were both looking it up like online, to see if anybody had covered it or what have you. And that building, I don't know what's in that building. That maybe was some type of office that does like, I didn't know anything, because recently there was a protest at the building across or right across the street from it, which is the American Airlines building.
Right.
But that was because American Airlines had added routes to Cuba and blah blah.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I get, right? Like I understand why they chose that spot. Right. But I kept asking. I asked the gentleman like twice, and I was like, "Right, but why? But why are they here in that building?" And he's like, "No, because we are here because they are there." And I'm like, "No, I get that part, but why this building?" And he's like, "No, because since they are protesting, we're protesting." I'm like, "Yeah, I asked twice. I'm not gonna ask a third time because I'm not gonna get the answer."
That's what you should have said. I was like, "Chico, pero okay."
You know what? I should have dropped the veil at that point. Yeah,
he would have been like, "Oh,
yeah, you're right." You're right.
Welcome.
You're right. You're right. I should have dropped the act at that point.
Yeah. At that point, yeah, you had already made,
I had
your social experiment.
Right. You're right. Coño, I didn't think about it. But yeah, not even Next Door, which is full of los chismosos de barrio.
Oh, really?
Nothing was on there either.
Oh, okay. Oh, Next Door, the app.
Yeah.
I was like, Next Door? Like, who lives next door?
No. The app Next Door, which is full of chismosos.
Yeah, so, well, there we go. Well, everybody, that was today's episode.
Yes.
I will be back in 2 weeks.
Yes, you will. And we don't know who's going to cover for you, but I'm sure it'll be somebody we love.
Who will it be?
It'll be somebody we all love and enjoy, I'm sure.
Or maybe it'll be a brand new person.
Maybe I'll just get the guy who gave me the explanation of the protest.
That'd be a good one.
Can you imagine?
You track him down.
Track him down and just be like, "Sir, I want you on my show."
Yeah, so anyway. Well, everybody, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yes, and don't forget, guys, August 6th, Beat Culture,
I will
Pastelito
be there.
Fest.
Wow, I'm having a great day that day. Pastelito Fest, and then the weekend.
And the weekend.
On the weekend. And on your birthday.
On my birthday.
Right. So
feel free to bring Publix cake.
Yes.
Just saying.
Anyway, have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.